Hi there, my name is Iarla Flynn. I'm a senior manager with the public policy team for Google in the Asia Pacific region. It's wonderful to be speaking at the conference, and I want to thank the Southeast Asia Press Alliance for the opportunity to take part. Around the world, we're in the middle of a fundamental debate about the openness and the nature of the internet. And right now, Thailand is in the middle of that debate. So it's a really timely event, and thanks again to the organizers for putting it together. At Google, our mission is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. And that means that we have a deep commitment to the open internet and to making information available to people around the world. So we're really interested in this conference and what's going on in Thailand. In my comments over the next few minutes, I want to touch on three areas. Firstly, I want to talk about the internet and what makes it special as a communications platform. I want to talk about some of the threats to the openness of the internet. And finally, to talk a bit about the approach that we take at Google. So let me start with the internet. The internet was designed to be an open platform, and today we've got a platform that is open, global, and dynamic. And these characteristics have contributed very, very much to the explosive growth of the internet. Today, there are more than 2 billion people connected to the internet around the world, and 850 million of those are in the Asia Pacific region, and it's growing very, very rapidly. In the online world, anybody can publish an opinion or a view, and anybody else can access that and respond to it and consider it. And people around the world are taking advantage of these opportunities. The opportunity that the internet provides to leap borders, to challenge conventions, and to allow for debate on subjects as diverse as eggs and education. Now, obviously, this environment creates a proliferation of opinions, some of which we would all agree with, some of which we may disagree with, and some in fact we may find objectionable. And certainly that dynamic creates a challenge for governments around the world that have been used to controlling traditional print and television media. Now, unfortunately, we're seeing a new trend globally where more and more governments are censoring content on the internet and also erecting legal and regulatory barriers to the free flow of information. Figures from the Open Net initiative show that in 2002 there were 4 governments around the world which censored the internet, but in recent years that number has gone above 40, so that's a very worrying trend. And just in recent weeks we've seen media reports of disruption to internet services in countries like Egypt, Syria and the Sudan, so indeed these are worrying trends. Our own experience at Google certainly reflects these trends. Our products have been blocked in more than 25 countries around the world. YouTube, for example, has been blocked in 13 countries or perhaps more. And YouTube is blocked today in China, Iran and North Korea. Many of the government restrictions that we see strike at the very heart of the open internet, but more broadly they also violate Article 19 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which says that everyone has the right to freedom of opinion and expression, and that includes freedom to access information through any medium, regardless of frontiers. So in this current global landscape at Google, we're very focused on staying true to our principles and beliefs, and they are about openness and preserving access to information, while at the same time operating in accordance with local laws and cultural norms in the different countries where we operate. Our approach is always evolving. Sometimes we have difficult judgment calls to make, but we rely on a number of key principles to inform our decisions that we make in terms of content. Number one, we have a bias in favor of people's right to free expression. We also strongly believe that more information means more choice, more freedom, and ultimately more power for the individual. Those are fundamental principles that we operate by every day in Google. Now, it'll be no surprise that companies like Google and other intermediaries and service providers in the internet and the telecoms world regularly receive demands from government, both to remove content from our services and also to provide user content. Such requests, when we get them, will be very closely checked by our expert legal teams to verify that they meet both the letter and the spirit of the relevant legislation. Where we do have to agree to these requests, and in most cases they're entirely legitimate and valid requests, but where we do agree with them, we make an effort to be as transparent as possible with our users. So for example, we will try to notify users where a request impacts on their own particular information, and where we remove content from our search results, we will display a message in the search results to let our users know what's actually happened. Last year, in October, we launched an interactive online transparency report, and this shows on a visual basis on a map of the world the numbers of requests we get in different countries for number one, removal of content from our services, and number two, requests for access to user data. We've also recently added features which allow users to see where Google services are actually being blocked or inhibited. And so, for example, following the recent situation in Egypt, we reduced the time delay on that feature from about 32 hours to about 2 hours. And that effectively means that internet users around the world can see almost in real time where Google services are being disrupted. So we think that's an important contribution to transparency. We absolutely recognize that access to information on the internet or anywhere else can't be and shouldn't be without limits. So for example, at Google, we have an all products ban on child sexual abuse material. We think that has no place on the internet or anywhere else. We've a global ban on that kind of material. But some of the legal restrictions that we see are going much broader than that, and hold out a risk of stifling discussion and access to information in the online world. I want to take one example. Last year in Indonesia, defamation law, for example, was used to block free expression. The case is of Prita Mulyasari, and I'm sure you're familiar with that case. A mother of two, Prita sent an email to some friends and family complaining about the poor service at a local hospital. Somehow this information got out into the public. The hospital sued Prita under Indonesia's defamation laws, and she was sent to jail, and a very heavy fine was imposed upon her. But thankfully, the online community in Indonesia joined forces and set out to protect Prita's right to express her views on a legitimate issue. The campaign, very thankfully, was successful, and Prita was freed from prison, and the fine was overturned. So a really good outcome there, and a success for the online community in Indonesia. And that brings us to Thailand, where the debate, as I said at the start, is very much current and very important. We must not allow freedom of expression on the internet to be limited by over-rigorous interpretations concerning where the responsibility of online intermediaries and service providers starts and ends. Or to put it another way, don't shoot the messenger in the online world. Kun Jiranut's trial is obviously very topical, and we have heard to our concern that the government believes that intermediaries in the internet world are guilty of a crime the moment content, which is subsequently found to be unlawful, is actually uploaded to those sites. And that seems to be the case, and that view seems to hold, whether the material was later removed or blocked. And that's a troubling interpretation, in our view, of the law. It attacks the very principles on which the internet is built. If this principle and this view was carried out, it would require monitoring of every comment on a website, every posting on a blog, and indeed every video uploaded to YouTube. And it's worth noting in that context that there are 35 hours of video uploaded to YouTube every single minute of the day. And that's just one website out of the over 1 trillion that make up the internet together. So I think it's clear that pre-screening of all the material uploaded by users to the internet is simply a practical impossibility. But I think more importantly, the principle of making intermediaries and service providers responsible strikes at the very openness that makes the internet work. If sites like Prashatai and YouTube are responsible for every piece of content that's uploaded, the risk is that the web as we know it could cease to exist, and all the economic and social benefits that come to people could also be in danger. Now, I think it's very important to note, in the context of the current public debate in Thailand, that the vigour of the debate is a testament both to Thailand's democracy and its vigorous civil society. It must be noted that there are many other countries in Asia where such a debate simply could not take place. I think the good news for all of us, individuals, people in industry, government and other interested stakeholders in the internet, is that we can work together to uphold the rights of freedom of expression and access to information in the online world. The challenge, I think, for those of us who care about the open internet and facilitating that access to information is to get governments to embrace the potential of the internet and to ensure that governments understand the potential of the internet to improve the economic and social conditions in their countries. I think with a sustained effort in the coming years, that is a challenge that we can all meet together. So in conclusion, I want to thank you very much for the opportunity to appear at this important event. For our part at Google, we will continue to work with the Southeast Asia Press Alliance, the Thai netizens, and indeed everybody who shares the goal of preserving the openness of the internet in Thailand, in Asia, and indeed around the world. So thank you very much again.